Assumptions. We all make them, don't we? It's a fascinating topic that delves into the intricacies of human psychology. So let's dig in and explore why people have a tendency to form assumptions about others. Our brains are truly remarkable organs, constantly working to process and make sense of the vast amount of information we encounter every day. When it comes to forming assumptions, our brains have developed a fascinating mechanism to help us navigate the world efficiently. You see, our brains have limited cognitive resources. We simply can't process every single detail and nuance of our surroundings at all times. So, to make things easier, our brains rely on shortcuts. These shortcuts are known as heuristics, which are mental rules or strategies that allow us to make quick judgments and decisions with minimal effort. One of these heuristics is called filling in the gaps. When we encounter a situation or a person, our brains automatically try to fill in the missing information based on what we already know. This process is known as inferential thinking. It's like our brain is connecting the dots, using our past experiences as a reference point. Now, here's where things can get a bit tricky. Our brains don't always have complete or accurate information to work with. So in the absence of concrete data, our brains resort to relying on past experiences, stereotypes, and social cues. These mental shortcuts help us form assumptions about others quickly, but they also carry the risk of being biased or inaccurate. Let's take an example. Imagine you meet someone for the first time and they're wearing a doctor's coat. Your brain automatically associates the coat with the medical profession, and you may assume that this person is a doctor. It's a quick and efficient way for your brain to make sense of the situation. However, the assumption may not necessarily be true. The person could be a medical student, a researcher, or even someone who simply enjoys wearing a doctor's coat as a fashion statement. Our brains also heavily rely on stereotypes when forming assumptions. Stereotypes are generalized beliefs or ideas about a particular group of people. They can be based on race, gender, age, or any other characteristic. These stereotypes are deeply ingrained in our society and culture, and our brains automatically apply them when encountering someone who fits into a certain category. This can lead to biases and unfair judgment. But here's the fascinating part. Our brains are not rigid or fixed in their thinking. They have the incredible ability to adapt and learn. By being aware of these cognitive biases and consciously challenging them, we can train our brains to be more open-minded and inclusive. It takes effort and practice, but it's a worthwhile endeavor to foster understanding and empathy in our interactions with others. Now let's talk about conscious and unconscious bias language and its relationship with brain function. Conscious bias refers to the biases that we are aware of and can consciously control. For example, if someone holds a prejudice against a particular race or gender, they may consciously choose to discriminate against them. On the other hand, unconscious bias refers to biases that exist at a subconscious level, outside of our conscious awareness. These biases can influence our thoughts, feelings, and actions without us even realizing it. The interesting thing is that both conscious and unconscious biases can affect our brain function. Research has shown that when we encounter something that aligns with our biases, our brain's reward system is activated, releasing feel-good chemicals like dopamine. This reinforces our biased beliefs and can make it harder for us to overcome them. But here's the thing, our brains are not set in stone. They have the incredible capacity for change and growth. By becoming aware of our biases and actively challenging them, we can rewire our brains and create new neural pathways. It takes effort and self-reflection, but it's definitely possible. Now, it's important to mention that the topic of assumptions and biases is vast, and there is a wealth of research and studies on the subject. If you're interested in diving deeper, I recommend checking out some reputable sources like academic journals, psychology books, or even TED Talks by experts in the field. So, next time you catch yourself making assumptions about others, take a step back, challenge those assumptions, and embrace the beauty of our diverse and complex human nature. After all, it's in our differences that we find true understanding and connection.